My whole life, I thought I was a lucky man, seriously. School, university, a stable job I even loved. And most importantly, her, Anya, my Anechka. We met in our second year. I remember her laughing at my clumsy joke at some party in the dorm. Her laugh was like little bells. It rang out and filled the entire space around us. That's when I drowned in it. Forever. Or so I thought back then. We lived soul to soul. For how long? 22 years. More than half my life. Two wonderful kids. Katya was already in university, Seryoja in ninth grade. Our home, our fortress, cozy, filled with her care. Everything seemed to run on smooth, perfect rails. I earned, built my career, provided. She created our world. Warm, bright, safe. I trusted her like myself, more than myself. Trust was the foundation everything stood on, the air we breathed. Looking back now, I see the cracks, little fissures in that monolith of trust, but then I didn't notice them. Or maybe I didn't want to notice. I was too sure of the strength of our bond, like her childhood friend, Olya, the one who suddenly moved to our town about 10 years ago. Anya started meeting her more often. Coffee, shopping, just chatting. Sometimes she'd be late. Olya broke up with her boyfriend. She's having a hard time, needs support. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? My Anya was a kind soul, always ready to help. Then those girls' nights at Olya's place, with sleepovers, once or twice a year. Well, so what? A break from the family routine. I was even happy for her, or her sudden passion for fitness. Not just morning stretches, but serious training 3 times a week, strictly in the evenings with a personal trainer. I want to get in shape for myself, she'd say, eyes sparkling. I supported her. Of course, sunshine. You're beautiful as you are. But if you want to, go for it. The trainer. Sergey. I saw him a couple of times when I picked her up. Muscular guy, smiley. Nothing special. Part of the job. Her phone. It was always with her, like an extension of her hand. But I wasn't some jealous idiot. Everyone needs their space. Sometimes I noticed her quickly flipping its screen down when I walked into the room. Oh, I was just scrolling through social media. Forgot myself. I'd nod. Trust, remember? Her trips to her sick aunt in the neighboring city. The aunt existed, sure, and she was sick. But 3 times in 6 months? She misses me so much, and there's no one else to help. I offered to go with her. No need, darling. You're tired. I can manage. You stay with the kids. And I stayed. Trusted. Sex. Ah, there's the rub, right? It happened. Regularly. But it was automatic. Devoid of the passion that used to be there. I chalked it up to age, fatigue, routine. Everyone goes through this, I told myself. She never refused, but she never initiated either. Like she was fulfilling a marital duty, and I believed it was just a phase, that it would pass. The Tuesday that changed everything was utterly ordinary. Rain was pouring down like buckets. An important meeting got canceled unexpectedly. I decided to head home early, surprise Anya, maybe take her out to a cafe. I stopped by her favorite bakery, bought a Prague cake, her weakness. Pulling into our driveway and in our spot stands an unfamiliar car, a dark SUV. Strange, maybe guests? But Anya hadn't mentioned any. I walk into the house, quiet, just the ticking clock. Anya? I call out. No answer. Kitchen spotless, living room too. I head upstairs to the bedroom. And then I hear sounds, muffled, laughter, her laughter, the one like little bells, but not like before. It was intoxicating, playful somehow, primal and joyful, and a man's voice. Low, familiar. I couldn't tell through the door. My heart plummeted to my feet. My hand reached for the doorknob on its own. The lock wasn't engaged. I pushed the door open. The scene. It seared itself into my brain like acid. On our bed, in our bedroom, under our wedding picture, the one I gave her for our 10th anniversary. Anya, my wife, Mayanechka, and him, Sergei, her personal trainer. They weren't just lying there, they were entwined, breathing in unison. Her eyes, God, her eyes. They were closed. Her face wore an expression of bliss I hadn't seen in years. Maybe I'd never seen it quite like that. She looked alive, truly alive, like I hadn't remembered her in a very, very long time. Time stopped. Sounds drowned in the roar of blood in my ears. I stood on the threshold, clutching the box with the Prague cake that suddenly felt unbearably heavy. The cake of my shame, the symbol of my blindness. They didn't notice me right away. Her laughter died when her eyes finally opened and met mine. Bliss turned to shock, then to animal terror. She shrieked, jerked away from him, frantically trying to cover herself with the sheet. Sergei whipped around. His face, relaxed a second ago, twisted in panic. He mumbled something, but I didn't hear. I only heard the siren wail inside me. "Decided to come home early, sunshine?" burst out of me. The voice wasn't mine. Alien, rattling like a rusty saw. "Bought cake." I held up the box. My hand shook so badly the lid flew off, and a chunk of chocolate cream with cherries splattered onto our parquet floor. A blood-red stain on the pale wood, like a brand. "Misha, it's not what you think," Anya babbled, her voice thin, frightened. She reached a hand towards me, but I recoiled as if from a viper. "Not what?" I laughed. The sound was ghastly, dry, joyless. "What is it then, Anya? Resuscitation procedures? Cardiac massage? Or just fitness?" I glanced at Sergei, who was feverishly pulling on his pants. "You train her well, Sergei. Very well. I see the client is satisfied." Each word was a nail I hammered into the coffin of our marriage. "Get out," I hissed at him. "Right now, or I won't answer for what happens." He bolted, not looking at Anya, stumbling over his own sneakers, scrambling out of the room. I heard him clatter down the stairs, the front door slam, the whine of his SUV speeding away. We were alone. Silence hung thick and heavy. She sat huddled on the bed, wrapped in the sheet, trembling all over. I stood, staring at that cake stain on the floor, at the torn packaging, at the bed, at her. "How long?" I finally asked. "How many years, Anya?" She whimpered. "Misha, how long?" My voice cracked, slamming against the walls. She flinched. With Sergei. 3 years, she whispered, not lifting her eyes. 3 years. 1,000 days. 1,000 false kisses. 1,000 nights pretending everything was fine. 1,000 times she looked me in the eye and lied. 1,000 times she chose him. And before him? I asked. An icy calm enveloped me. Olya, the sick aunt, the girls' nights, were they all them? She was silent. The silence was louder than any confession. It screamed, "Yes, yes, they were all cover stories. Yes, I lied to you for years. Yes, you were a blind fool in your cozy little world." "How many total, Anya?" I pressed. I needed to know the depth of the abyss, the full scale of my humiliation. I didn't count," she mumbled. "Approximately," I barked. "A dozen? More?" "Misha, please. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter." I roared so loud the windows probably rattled. "It's the only thing that matters to me right now. How many men, Anya? How many times did you betray me, our home, our children?" She buried her face in her hands. Her shoulders shook with sobs. "I don't know. I don't remember. 5, 6, maybe 7. Over all the time. They were mistakes, moments of weakness. 7. I said the word quietly. It hung in the air, heavy as an anvil. 7 times, 7 different faces, 7 stories she concocted to cover her lust. 7 times she came back to me, to our home, to our children, and kissed me with lips that had just kissed another man. "And Olya, your childhood friend? Was she your pimp? Your cover?" She nodded, still hiding her face. "Sometimes. Yes. She knew. Helped. There it was, the whole house of cards, my entire life, built on sand made of lies. My best friend, my anchor, my sunshine, turned out to be a skilled actress playing the role of a loving wife for 22 years. And me, the lead audience member of her vile play, paying for the ticket with my life, my faith, my soul. I looked at her, at that trembling, pathetic figure under the sheet, at the woman I had adored, and I felt nothing. No pain, no rage, only emptiness. A deaf, bottomless void. As if someone had ripped out my insides and filled me with concrete. I turned around and walked out of the bedroom, stepped past the cake stain, went downstairs, grabbed my car keys. I needed to get out. Anywhere. Just not here. Not in this phantom house where every corner, every object now screamed of betrayal. Misha! Her cry caught me in the hallway. She stood at the top of the stairs, still wrapped in the sheet, face swollen from crying. Where are you going? Please, let's talk. I can explain. I stopped at the door, didn't turn around. Explain what, Anya? My voice was alien, flat, dead. How masterfully you lied. How perfectly you pretended. How you enjoyed the fact that I, the idiot, noticed nothing. What explanations could possibly exist after 7 years of affairs? After you turned our marriage into a filthy farce and me into a laughingstock? I love you, she cried out desperately. All of that. It meant nothing. It was stupidity. I got lost, but you are my husband, the love of my life. I slowly turned around, looked into her eyes, those same eyes that once seemed like bottomless oceans of truth. Now I only saw dirt in a web of lies. Love? I smirked, short, soundless. You don't know what love is, Anya. You only know lies and lust. And what you feel for me now, that's not love. That's fear. Fear of losing the cozy little world I built for you. Fear of what happens when the truth gets out. Fear of being alone. But love. Love isn't here. It hasn't been here for a very long time, if it ever was at all. I opened the door. Cold, damp air hit my face. Misha, don't go. Please. For the children's sake. I froze. The children. Katya, Seryozha. My bright, innocent children. What would I tell them? How could I look them in the eye, knowing their mother? Was this? The children, I said, staring into the gray veil of rain beyond the door. They are the only reason I haven't torn this house apart yet. But you stopped being their mother the moment you let the first lover in here. You stopped being my wife long before that. Now you're just a woman living in my house, and one who will very soon stop living here. I walked out, without looking back, without hearing her screams. The rain lashed my face, mixing with something salty on my lips. I got in the car, started the engine, and just drove. No destination, no thoughts. Only the hum of the engine and the white noise of emptiness in my head. 22 years, trust, love, family, all crumbled to dust in 1 minute, behind one open door, and now standing on the ruins of my former life was me, alone, with a broken heart, a trampled soul, and the terrible knowledge. I never knew the person I shared my life with. Never.